Hey, welcome back. Today we are in Luke, a brand new gospel. I want to encourage you down below to check out the video from the Bible Project, which is the like the extra resources section down below. It's going to give you an overview of Luke and how it's structured. Super helpful. Really want to encourage you to do it. So Luke 1 and 2. Today we're only doing two chapters because those are actually two very long chapters. Luke 1 is the longest chapter in the New Testament. And so I've shortened the reading to two chapters today because of how long that is. So you're going to get a little different perspective from Luke, a little different angle, and some unique stories in these first chapters. All right. The reason is because look at Luke chapter 1. It says, I have investigated many people have undertaken to compile a narrative of things that have been accomplished among us, these saving things, these actions of Jesus, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word have delivered them to us. And it seemed good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus. So Luke is writing to a guy who has become a believer, and he's saying, listen, I've done my research, and I've followed all this very, very carefully. And Luke is a very careful and excellent historian. He does really, really good work. Luke and Acts, the book of Acts, which is the fifth book of the New Testament, which we'll read later. Luke and Acts were both written by the same person. And so he starts off with this very, very detailed, and he's obviously talked to Mary at some point because he investigates and he's talked to Mary about the stories, and Mary has told him things that only she would know. Specifically, it says in Luke chapter 2 that Mary stored these things and pondered them in her heart. And so, like the idea that he talked with Mary, he interviewed her. And so there's incredible things. One other thing about Luke is he's a detailed guy. He's actually a doctor by trade. He's a detailed guy, and he likes music. There's several songs in the book of Luke that appear nowhere else. The Song of the Angels, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. That kind of classic quote there that's from Luke, and it's not recorded in other Gospels. Mary's song, her song of praise when she visits her cousin who is pregnant with John the Baptist. So yes, John the Baptist and Jesus are cousins, and so that's kind of cool. So when all of this is happening, Luke is just he's talked to the right people, he's investigated, and then he writes everything down. And so knowing that he's being careful, he's structuring all of this, he's being cautious to give good details and good historical accuracy. I want you to notice the difference between fairy tales and this. So Jesus, the stories of Jesus do not begin like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And you're like, wait, how long ago? Where? What galaxy was this? Was there a planet name? I need to know, what you get the idea. It's not once upon a time in a land far, far away. It's not that at all. And in fact, it is very historically based and very on purpose. It's almost like Luke is daring people to guess and to research, not guess. I'm not sure why I use that word. It's like he's daring people to check and go investigate this. And so I think that's fantastic. So Jesus' birth is, in those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus. Right? You're like, okay, Caesar Augustus, that's an actual guy, right? That's Octavian, the Roman emperor, who became Caesar Augustus. And so all of that, it's like Quirinius was governor of Syria. By the way, for a long time, skeptics thought that was a mistake because they thought, well, there was no Quirinius that was governor of Syria. Turns out there were two of them. And they were like, it can't be because there was no Quirinius that governor of Syria during this time. And turns out there were two Quiriniuses that were governors of Syria, and it's accurate. And so the more you learn, the more reliable foundation our faith rests upon. And I think that's marvelous. So we will see you tomorrow.